Welcome to Go Get Great, the podcast for aspiring entrepreneurs and ambitious small business owners. I'm your host, Brittany, owner of Brittany Miller Socials and mother of 3. Go Get Great is all about helping you make life and business work together. You'll learn about the fumbles that helped get me and my guests to where we are today so you don't have to make them. So come join the journey with Go Get Great. Good morning. So I am really excited. Kourtney Koenitzer is back with me today, and we are going to be talking about different tools that she uses for her business because I am just so interested in learning more about kind of tuning into myself and the universe and all of those amazing things. So Kourtney, I'll let you do a little bit of a brief introduction and then we'll dive right back in for those people that might not have caught our first episode together.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you. So I am Kourtney Koenitzer from Niyama Love, as Brittany mentioned. So my business is focused around a lot of energy work, spiritual energy work. So I'm a Reiki master, practitioner, teacher, Ohana generational healer. I also teach yoga. We do meditations at the park, and I also do card readings for both like for people and then also in group settings and lots of workshops, lots and lots of stuff. So I'm happy to be here and share whatever needs to be shared.
Yeah, the last time Kourtney was on, we were talking a lot about manifesting, and then hopefully you guys caught her Manifest Magic course. So today we're gonna kind of continue on that conversation. So Kourtney, do share with us, what do you consider kind of your key business tools and resources? So I know tarot cards are really big for you. Is there anything else?
Yeah. So definitely cards. I work a lot with the cards. I use a lot of cleansing tools. So cleansing energy, cleansing your space. So that when I say cleansing tools, that's like burning incense, sage, there's Palo Santo, and there's a lot of really other cool ones out there. Like I just got some myrrh. You can use essential oils. So like a lot of those things are really helpful as well, because it's really nice sometimes if you're in any setting, even outside of a business setting, and I actually use this between clients as well, to cleanse the space, not just from a physical standpoint, but from an energetic standpoint, so that any residual energy isn't carrying over into the next moment. So I definitely use a lot of those tools as well. And another thing is journaling, lots and lots of journaling. Journaling to support sessions with others. I am one of those people who likes to write things down. It helps me kind of process. But I find too, like from a healing standpoint, that is something that has helped the growth of my business and symbiotically helped the growth of my life as well. So there's a lot of really cool ways to work with journaling that I've utilized over quite some time actually. And I actually do have a workshop on that, just to kind of like help anybody who is new to journaling or wants to kind of step up their game or just kind of shift their journaling to a little bit of a different energy. Sometimes we sometimes get bored with it, and we just want to be able to have more purpose and intention for what we're doing, but the tools aren't always easily available to us. So I would definitely say that's another thing. Writing things down is a huge one for me. So,
So maybe we can take a second here, because prior to like connecting with you, and I've actually done Kourtney's journaling workshop. It's really great. I highly recommend it. I thought journaling was like some super intensive and very expensive thing that happens after you go to Michael's and buy 17,000 different marker colors and blank notebooks and rulers and stickers and like all of those other things, because that's the only type of journaling I've ever seen on social media. So why don't you share what you actually like need or can do at like a bare minimum level to still reap the rewards of this without, going crazy?
That is a really good point, because yes, journaling can definitely be those things. It is a lot of fun to do those things, but yes, there's also a completely different approach. And my approach is a little bit more on the basic standpoint. Like, yes, my creative side of it is picking different colored pens. Which color am I going to use today? And like, I think the only other aspect of like coloring I colored on my journal because it was black and white, and I'm like, I'm just going to put a little bit of color, like coloring between the lines, and so it kind of made it my own. But yeah, so the journaling that I really focus on is more so a lot of inner work, a lot of like affirmations, manifestation. So it's and in the workshop we talk a lot about the content inside of the journal. So it's one thing to have, and I'm one of these people who has like many journals sitting at home because they look pretty, and I'm like, oh, one day I'll open that one and it'll be for this, and it's fun to have that, but it's also sometimes I have a lot of people who come up to me and say, well, yeah, it's just hard for me to take what's in my mind and put it on a piece of paper because there's so much, not necessarily anxiety, but you kind of overthink the process of journaling, which happens really easily. And like, for example, myself, what I try to tell my clients or anyone who takes part in the workshop is, don't worry too much about it if you have a page that has one sentence on it. Journal prompts are your friend. They are so helpful to just kind of help work through what your intention is for your journaling. And there's so many out there. I create a lot of journal prompts. It's helped me immensely on my journey in so many ways. And actually, yeah, so we did that in the manifestation course as well. We have a lot of journal prompts, and it's great too because once you have the journal prompt, you can always go back to it and do it again. And you can always reflect on the information that you put in there last time. Like, it's nice to have like that growth, the ability to see the growth over time without having to like chart it and have metrics, and you can go back to a date in your page in your book and be like, what was happening that day? But yeah, so, but for the most part, I would definitely say that it is very helpful for just understanding more without having to put a lot of pressure on it, because journaling's meant to be fun.
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be super expensive either. So like I used a lined paper notebook that I picked up from the dollar store, but it has to have rings in it. That's my thing, because I need to be able to fold it. And just like a regular pen. So it's a very like low cost, easy to start activity. So I really like it. Why don't you share with us your favorite journal prompt?
Ooh, my go-to journal prompt, okay, is super simple, super basic. It is, what am I feeling today? Yeah, that is my go-to, because one of the things that we don't always do on a regular basis or have time for is connecting with ourselves and connecting with what we are actually feeling. Sometimes we're having feelings and we don't even know where they're coming from or what's happening with them, or even sometimes what they are. Like, okay, I'm feeling angry right now, but am I really feeling angry? Am I actually sad because I was hurt by something and my anger is a response to that hurt? So it kind of helps, and it's great too because it's so personal. You don't have to share it with anybody. You don't even have to, like, I love it because there's no spell check, and
Yes.
right? Like, it's like, yeah, maybe I might not even be able to understand what I'm writing because my spelling might not be the best, but no one else really, it's kind of like your own cryptic code too. Like, what you wrote, but if someone else doesn't see the spelling, it's like, they won't be able to understand it anyway. Like,
It's true. And you know what? Sometimes I can tell a lot about the headspace that I was in when I wrote on that day based on how legible or illegible my writing was.
I love that. It's so true. You can definitely see that. Like, you're just the way that you write in one entry to the other. It's really interesting to see how it shifts. I love that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you can use journal prompts for a lot of different things. I like it because it helps me think in different ways. So I'm constantly going out and looking for different ways, even to frame a similar question, because it'll trigger something different inside me. I find, and one thing that I actually want to do is I want to switch up some of the prompts that I've been using, because I feel like I'm just kind of stuck and I need to make a bit of a shift to get somewhere else. And I was going somewhere with this, and I don't remember where I was going with this. So maybe that was my point.
Yeah, shifting.
No,
it's good though. No, that's good, because it's a good point to shift the questions and shift the prompts, because yes, you can use the same prompt over and over again, but sometimes when you do use the same prompt over and over again, you give a programmed response because you're so used to using it. So sometimes it is nice to have, and that's why, like, journal prompts never really get old. Like you can kind of, like the slight wording can kind of shift your perspective of it. And that's one thing that's really great about journaling is it's just interesting to see that shift in perspective. And especially when you ask yourself different questions, you're like, okay, well, I'm bored with this question now. What's another one? Like, what's a different one? And it becomes like this fun self-exploration kind of thing for sure.
So I remember what I was going to say.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So I was reading a book a little while ago called How Are You Really by Jenna Kutcher. So you were talking about, checking in with yourself. And I found that was an interesting read for me too, because I like journaling, but I'm still a big avid reader. So that's definitely something that you could check out if you'd like. And she has some journaling prompts in there too. And they're a little bit more, they're personal, but also a little bit business specific too. So like, obviously that hits me as a business owner. So it's definitely something worth checking out if you're interested in it. But where do you go to find new journal prompts? So obviously if people can follow you on social media, you post a lot of stuff there. We did a little bit of a spring journal prompt thing in my newsletter and I made a social media post about it. Maybe we'll make that a regular thing. Who knows? But where else do you get your prompts from?
That is a very good question. A lot of the prompts that I've created, and so some of them just kind of just come to mind. They just intuitively flow through. But a lot of the inspiration comes from some of the courses that I've taken. For example, the conscious parenting course that I took was very essentially it was basically a workbook too. So there were a lot of questions in there, and there was a lot of inner work and a lot of belief system work. So a lot of that content kind of supports that course that I took. There's a couple other ones too that I went through with my teacher, my Reiki master teacher. She did a couple other courses as well. But it's kind of an amalgamation of that. And then just tuning into intuitively how you can shift the questions a little bit. I think a lot of the manifestation stuff really, I never had a course or anything on that other than just living it. So it was kind of as you live it and you go through it and you see what works and what doesn't work, it kind of works itself out, if that makes any sense. But yeah. And then there are some there are some books out there that you can purchase that have, I think I have a gratitude journal as well. But I did find it was getting repetitive. Like you said, you get repetitive and then you're like, okay, this is what I'm saying. And then you don't really put that intention and that heart into it. And that kind of takes away from the practice. But yeah, so there's definitely those journals out there. But I would say just tune into the questions too. Once you start getting familiar with them, you're like, maybe I am going to shift this question a little bit differently or this prompt a little bit differently for sure.
Now that we're talking about different books and things like that, I hadn't really thought about it at the time, but I picked up a book from Purely Wicked in St. Thomas, and it was 52 lists to happiness. So each week there was a new thing that you were supposed to make a list of to get you thinking about all the things that made you happy. And I really liked that. And it did get me thinking in different ways throughout the year because there was a different prompt each week, which was really nice. And there were even some action items for it too, which was really cool. But there were a lot more to 52 list books. So you could definitely go and check that out if you're looking for kind of some of that more structured things. And for me, I think they call it bullet journaling. I call it list making, but same concept. But I find that form of journaling is easiest for me to do.
Yes, I like that. I like that too, actually. That is one thing that is super, super supportive is making the list journaling and bullet journaling. That is one thing that I must say has been very helpful for myself as well, because a lot of times when you have we'll say what we'll call it writer's block, where you're like, what am I going to think? But you just start writing things down. Okay, well, what do I need to do today? Or what am I grateful for? And you just kind of, even just words in general, just write a word down and see what comes out from that inspiration. So yeah, definitely huge fan of writing lists. Lists are I need them in my life. But yeah, for sure. So yeah.
My business coaches caution that I spend too much time making the list and not enough time getting the things off the list. So it's a struggle, but I still feel it's important. So I do it anyway.
Right. At least it's in your awareness, right? I think the key to a lot of things is awareness, and the key to healing and just growing and expanding, so much awareness. And yeah, even you said, just writing it down and having the list. I agree. I definitely can relate to that. For sure. That's the action side of the manifestation, is doing the work to actually do the manifesting. So yeah, definitely.
So I'm going to interrupt you there and ask a question. So I've heard recently, and I haven't had a chance to look into it, but is there such a thing as like driving hypnosis and like driving meditation? Because I will find that, I'm driving somewhere and it'll be like 30 or 40 minutes later. And I was like, wow, I'm here. Wait, what the heck? How did I get here? Like I have no memory of the driving at all.
Dude. Oh my God. Okay, we're going to go there. Yes. All the time. Okay. It's a thing. It happens all the time. All the time. Like, and we're literally talking about like, okay, like you can get in, okay. I don't know how far we want to go with this because we could talk about like, time travel and like stuff like that. But yes, it is definitely a thing. It is 1,000% a thing. It happens to me all the time. Okay. It happens to a lot of people all the time. It happened to a friend of mine where she was literally like, I don't know how I got to where I was going and I got there faster than I ever have. And I'm like, okay, but were you speeding? No, I promise I wasn't speeding. It was on like cruise control. But the thing is when you're doing that, like you're still aware of your environment. You're still aware of where you're going. You're still like, but yeah, like it's a little bit of like this really deep, relaxed state. Like, especially like, yes, don't get me wrong. Like there's some dangerous aspects to like, don't fall asleep while you're driving, but that's not really what we're talking about, right? Like you're aware and you're alert and you're in your surroundings, but yes, you definitely kind of like become so used to that space where you're going, what to anticipate, what to expect to a degree, like, and if someone's going to pop out that you weren't expecting to be there, you would see them. But yes, you definitely can get into like a driving hypnosis kind of state and meditative state where you're like, like that. I think honestly, that's part of the reason why I like driving sometimes. Like my mind just like, oh, we'll go there too. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. So meditation in general. Okay. Because this is a thing. And not a lot of people, people think, okay, a lot of times people come to me and they say meditation, but I just can't clear my mind or I can't sit still enough.
That's me.
Right? Right? And I'm like, dude, I know, I can relate to that. Like that would like me too. And like, but the thing is meditation, the stereotypical meditation is like you see a monk on a hill with his legs crossed, with his, with his mudra and like, or her, whatever. And they are just like, they're there and they're peaceful and they're at peace and their mind is clear. Okay, great. That is not the only form of meditation. I found the most useful form of meditation for myself was allowing my thoughts to flow. Okay. Right? Like letting those thoughts come through. Because what happens is if we're like, oh no, I got to clear my mind. Oh no, I got to clear my mind. You're suppressing those thoughts and you're suppressing those, whatever's coming up for you. And it's not actually allowing it to flow because our mind is our crown chakra. It's part of our entire system, part of our electromagnetic field. Energy has to flow through our entire body. Mm-hmm. By trying to shut off what needs to flow, especially in the society that we live in where it's normal and okay to suppress our emotions. And meditation is supposed to be this thing that calms us down and relieves stress. But we're like, oh no, I'm stressing about not being able to do this right. Well, it defeats the purpose of it, right?
I was going to say, I end up more stressed after trying to de-stress.
Yeah, 100%. So like, that's why like alternative, like, okay, so there's so many different ways to meditate. And meditate doesn't need to be like sit in stillness. You can go on a walk meditation. But one thing that I would stress with regards to meditation for anything. And if you're a person, like you can do a guided meditation. That's how I started. Mm-hmm. I never just sat there quietly. Like I did the exact same thing. I was like, oh man, why isn't my mind quiet? Oh my gosh, I'm not doing this properly. So I got into guided meditations because that really kind of helped like bring focus to something, especially when there was breath work involved. But then I started to realize as I was doing some of these meditations, like it is amazing and it's really helpful to allow your mind to process what it needs to process, because then you're actually in a space where you're releasing it and you're holding space for it. So much like Reiki or any of the other practices or like yoga, you're holding space for that practice to be able for yourself, like for your connection for yourself, for your connection with your body. And that's really the most important aspect of it. And that's really the only thing that really matters, like at the end of the day. So like when you're doing a meditation, it's the exact same thing. You're holding space for yourself, whatever you need to experience in order for this experience to help you. Let your mind flow, man. And especially if something comes up and you're like, where did that come from? Like, oh, dude, okay. Oh, I did a meditation. I'm sorry. I hope we don't run out of time. But I did a meditation. And it was really wild. So basically it was to activate your lower chakras, because our lower chakras that's where we manifest. That's our physical connection to our 3D reality, our ego, our creative center, our power center. It is where we hold a lot of our fear, anger, anxiety, where a lot of those belief systems come from. So I did a particular meditation where you contract all of those muscles in that area, and you actually bring spinal fluid from the lower part of your body, where obviously it's kind of gravity, right? Kind of sitting, and you push it back up to your brain. And what actually ends up happening is you activate your pineal gland, which is your third eye. And the most wild thing came up. Some traumatic experience that I had completely forgot about came up for me. And I was like, what? Really? And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is still here. And then when it came up, I started feeling the emotions, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling the emotions for this again. And it's starting to go through my mind. And it's like, it's coming up though to go through my mind so that, 100%. And it's like, so let that happen. For sure. Let it happen during a meditation, because that's the safe space for that to happen. So yeah, why not?
And I found that I enjoyed meditation and found more value in it when I did let my mind wander, in essence, to see what was there. And I would have some of those like aha moments, I guess you'd call it. And I feel like this is very similar to why some people have their best thoughts right before they're about to fall asleep, or while they're in their shower, because it's our most relaxed state.
Yes. 1,000%. You are so right. Yep, definitely. Yep.
So there you go. Every time you need to have like an aha moment in your business because you're up against a roadblock, go take a shower, go take a nap, sit and think about it. Yes. Instead of trying to clear your mind, because you're working against yourself that way.
Yes, 1,000%. Yep, I love it. This is so true for sure. Amazing. Yep. I don't even know what else to say.
I was gonna say, I feel like we were talking about something and then we went down this rabbit hole and I don't remember how to
apologize.
Tools. Good.
Tools.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I said all the tools though.
So I was gonna ask you, for those people that are interested in kind of starting with things. So I brought it downstairs so that I'd get it right. So this deck was recommended by someone else that I follow. So it's called Work Your Light Oracle Cards by Rebecca Campbell. So I like it. I've only used it a couple times. I'm not sure that I'm doing it right, but I'm trying, and I am liking the results that I'm getting from it so far. And you've recommended a couple starter decks for me. So do you want to share those?
Sure. There's no wrong way. You got
Good
this.
to know.
As long as it resonates with you, that's all that matters.
Okay.
For sure. So I have a lot of decks. I'm glad you chose that one. That one is a beautiful deck. Rebecca has a lot of really nice decks. You can get as creative with it as you want to. I personally don't do like the tarot thing. It's just something that never really resonated with me. And not because it's like something like it's, scary. There's some scary cards in there. I'm like, honestly, there's scary cards in all the decks, really, if you want
scary things in everybody's life.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So, yeah, definitely. Like, I would say if you're choosing a deck, pick one that stands out to you, that resonates with you. The first deck I ever had was an angel card deck. Okay. Because I wanted to connect with my guides, like go down that spiritual path. Then I got into wisdom, and it was like the Oracle Wisdom deck, and it was really cool too. And then the next one was my energy deck, because I was like, okay, connecting with energy, connecting with my chakras. That's the one I use most frequently, just because I do like that it is directly related to connecting with energy. And that is a lot of the work that I do, and a lot of like my focus anyway. Mm-hmm. And then I did end up getting a tarot deck, but it was like a Zen tarot deck. So it's like, it's really cool. It's unique actually. What else? Oh gosh, dude, I went down, I'm like animals. I want to connect with animals. Let's get an animal deck. Got an animal deck. Star seeds. Let's connect with star seeds. Got a star seed deck. Just went to Alberta, went to my favorite store. Oh my gosh, if you need a deck, tell me, I'll get you one. Got a lady. No, but I walked in there. I'm like, goddess deck. Yes.
Sounds cool.
Oh man, I brought it.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to see it for sure. Definitely. And then, and I was like, oh man, I really want to connect with fairies. And then there was a fairy deck. It was like literally right in front of me right when I said that. And I like just kind of turned and it was right there. I'm like, Well, that's just it. Gotta get that, right? Like, so you can go overboard like me, but honestly, starting with one that just resonates with you, I recommend, like, usually if you're like kind of intimidated by it, I would say going down the path of like anything that's got light in the name, you should be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you in a second kind of how to do it, because as a novice, I didn't really understand the process. And there are instruction booklets when you get your decks, by the way. So that's really helpful. And the particular deck that I have is, I guess, very positive. So I chose to ask it a question that day. So I think I shared this a while ago. So I have been, some of you guys know this, I have been a Beachbody coach for a little over a year. It's not called Beachbody anymore. It's called Body. So many changes. And I love it because it was exactly what I needed at exactly the right time. I needed at-home fitness so that I could do it. And then I wanted to share that with other people. So, you know, you get a lot of flack dealing with MLMs and all that kind of stuff. And I had stopped doing it during the end of my pregnancy because I didn't want to work out so close to delivering, and then during my recovery. So I was asking it, you know, should I start this again, or should I just kind of let this go? Is this something that I need to release so I can focus on other things? And that was the day that I pulled cards, and I got literally the yes card. Although technically it wasn't me that pulled it. It was Rhea. It was like the deck was telling me, you know, you're still not going to be sure after this because this is the first time you've done this and you're not going to believe it. So here is the literal answer. It is the yes. And I was like, okay. And then Grayson turns to me after as I'm like telling him this, and he's like, yeah, but like, is there even a negative card in the deck to tell you no? And I was like, well, yeah, there's a no card. And he's like, all right, I guess. So I was like, but I mean, you still could have pulled that. So I'm taking it as, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But yeah, the deck overall is very positive, because I was worried about the same thing too. I'm like, I don't want to know if there's death coming. Like, that's, you know, what you see in movies. So I feel like it's just clouded kind of how this works. But how do you get started with something like this? You get your deck. What do you do?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Honestly, I started just by opening up the book, because like you said, every deck will come with a book, and it'll give you a couple spreads, and it'll say like, okay, well, if you want, you know, I think the one that I go to is a message your guides want you to know, or your angels want you to know. So you pick 4 cards, and then like each one has a different meaning. There's a present, immediate future, and then future one as well. That's really simple. So you just pull 3 cards in a row. So that one was kind of like a starting one for me too. But if you ever want to like look up some spreads or anything like that, just you go online. Every single deck is going to have a little booklet that tells you like, okay, this is what you do with it. This is how you prepare the deck. Because when you get one too, you want to get your energy on it. You want to have like, you know what I mean? Like knock on the deck 3 times. If you have cleansing tools, you want to do that kind of stuff too, like, and play around with it. Like go through and shuffle it and just get like connected with the cards themselves. And like, yeah, like most importantly is just getting your energy all over it. Like put them on the table and like swish them all around and mix them all up. That would be like, you know, like if you're starting, I would say just do that, and then kind of take a look at the book, because each one is unique. Each one has different spreads, which I found very interesting when I started going through it. And yeah, but there's always ones that you could look up online if like you wanted to just be like, oh, I want to know. Actually, there was one where it's like, I want to know my soulmate spread, and then it'll actually get, yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Like all of it for sure is on there, and you can find something like that on the internet, and it'll be there too for sure. And then you just find what resonates with you. You'll be like, I don't know about that, or okay, that one's kind of cool. Let's try that. And then you just go with it. For sure. That's the trusting your intuition part, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So,
and one of the things that I didn't understand until I had actually got a deck, because Kourtney had done a pull for me when I went to one of her meditation sessions, but I never really saw the book. But there's actually like instructions in it of like what each card means. So it gives you some sort of basis to be able to like interpret the results with, which I think is very helpful.
This is a good point. Yes, I forgot. Didn't really mention that part. But yes, if you pull a card, you can tune into what it feels like for you. But there's definitely an intended message within each one of the, like, that the creator of the deck will have. And then it'll give you that message. And yeah, you're right. You interpret it and see what resonates for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so if someone wanted to get a deck, obviously you can order them online. They're available on Amazon. That's where I got my deck from. Are there local places you can get them?
Purely Wicked. You can even get them at Kohl's now as well. You can get them at Chapters. I went to Chapters and I was like, what? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have like a whole wall. Same at Kohl's in Elgin Mall. So just for St. Thomas locals, you can get them there as well. Where's another place, a local place? Oh my gosh. I feel like I know one, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
I was like, I feel like Purely Wicked has a lot of them.
They do. Yeah. They have a decent amount. Honestly, if the place in Alberta was here, I'd be like, go there. Cause like, oh my gosh.
Does she have an online store?
She does not. I told her, I'm like, you got to get online because I'll tell everyone to come here. Like, my goodness. Like, I would stand here and just take videos and be like, do you like that one? Do you like that one? And like, I'm sure like, because she has like, honestly, I have never seen a selection so vast. Like she has like one full shelf of just cards. Then she's got like 6 other shelves of like books, cards, like tools, everything. So there's cards on every single like shelf she has there. And you're like, do you have enough cards? She's like, I have more in the back. I'm like, oh my God, like what? So yeah. So Holistics and Red Deer, if you reach out to her and you're really like, you really want a unique deck that's hard to find, that's a good space to kind of like just be like, hey, like, will you just do like a video call with me and can I buy a deck off you or something like that? So that's another thing for sure. So, but yeah. And then there's other places too, like anywhere you go, you can probably find, like if you go to a crystal shop, you can usually find some decks there if you're like not from St. Thomas area, but yes, Purely Wicked for sure. And then in London, there's definitely a couple places. I haven't really gone there very much though to check it out, but
so I want to go back to tarot cards for a second.
Yes.
So you brought 3 decks with you. You have the Oracle of the 7 Energies. You have Goddess Power Oracle deck and Oracle of the Fairies. And from our conversations, I'm guessing that that's not all of the decks you have.
This is true.
Yeah. One sec. Okay. So I thought it would be really fun if while Kourtney was here and since she brought decks with her that we do a card reading for each of us.
Sure. Yeah. Or we can do one for the collective if you want.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Because then what that'll do is we'll tune into the energy and we'll just kind of see like collectively what we're going to be. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to tune into that energy for that time. And so I'm shuffling the deck right now. Ooh. Uh-oh. That one's coming out. And this one. Okay, so they kind of popped out there. So I guess we'll do a couple more cards than I anticipated. So those ones are definitely like, that's intuitively tuning into that energy. So what happens is when I'm like doing this, if a card falls out like that, that's usually like a sign that it has an like meaning. Like,
okay.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like if half the deck falls out, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't read all these cards. Well, no, like it was probably just a misshuffle. But if you end up getting like a card that kind of like, I think one time I did a meditation in a card reading and the card flew like 6 feet away from me. And I was like, clearly it's that card. Okay. Thank you, universe. Like, I guess you didn't need me to pick it. So yeah, so it was pretty cool. So
the deck that we're using right now is Oracle of the Fairies.
Yes. So, and I love this deck too, because the artwork is very beautiful, but it's also nice because the reason why I even went towards this deck and purchased this deck was because fairies are fun, right? Like when you think of a fairy, kind of like fun, mischievous energy kind of thing.
Like youthful, whimsical, like light, all of those things kind of come to mind. All things that we usually want to tap into. Everyone's like, oh, I want to be like young again. Well, this is a great way to do it.
Exactly. Okay. So I'm going to spread the cards out. Okay. And actually, Brittany, I'm going to let you pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I've already got the 2 there. So we'll let you pick one.
Right. Any tips to help like,
oh, this is a good question.
Yeah.
So what I do is I usually spread them out lengthwise and try to just make them evenly kind of like spread out so that you can kind of have access to all of them. So they're not really like grouped together. And then what I do is I take usually my left hand because your left hand is your receiving side. Okay. And I glide my hand over top of the cards, like not touching it. And then once I kind of feel like a little bit of energy or like a jolt of like electricity, or that's kind of how I do it. A lot of people just kind of like shut their eyes and kind of like that area, like just intuitively, I pick, like, you know what I mean? You're gravitating towards a particular area, but yeah, whatever feels good for you for sure.
Okay. So left hand. I'm not hacking into like I'm like waiting for like a spark of electricity or something, which is like not gonna happen at all. But
you'd be surprised.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes that happens for sure. That one's a deep one. Ooh. Okay.
So do I flip it over?
Yes.
Okay.
As I like move back to talking to the mic.
Yeah. A little inconvenient to do while recording, but that's okay. We're making it work.
100%.
So the card that I picked is, do you want me to read this one first?
Yeah, go ahead. You can read it.
So is Journey. It's time to prepare for a journey. It may be impromptu or planned. Either way, make sure you're ready when the time comes. Pack your passport now.
Dude.
Okay.
Okay, that is cool. That is very cool. Okay, so can I see the card for a
Yeah.
second? I'm just going to tune
It's really
into
pretty.
it.
It's got like a fairy on it with like a giant bunny.
Okay, giant bunny is super cool. That's a sign of luck.
Oh.
Yeah, a huge sign of luck. As you know, like rabbit's foot,
I was
lucky
gonna say,
rabbit's
yeah.
foot. Yeah, for sure. But it is a sign of luck and abundance. It's so funny because I did actually look up the spirit animal not long ago, and it's not very many of the cards actually have animals on them. So it's definitely an auspicious sign.
Okay.
For sure. And the mushrooms too. They are very interesting mushrooms that, sorry, I'm like talking about the mushrooms
Well, that's
now.
okay. I was like, I didn't know that you were supposed to read into like the imagery on the card too, and not just the words. So this is exciting.
Yeah, for sure. So, and we'll definitely send a picture, like post a picture of all these cards too, so you can see them. Yeah. So it's really funny because it's kind of, those mushrooms have a lot of significance too. And I know it sounds kind of silly, but different types of mushrooms have different types of energies as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of funny that it's got like that reddish energy to it, like the red and the white. And it is also a sign of abundance as well, because these ones look like the ones that grow under Christmas trees. It's like
Okay.
yeah, it's like
It's like Alice in Wonderland immediately came to mind for me, but
yes, that's right. And that's exactly what this is. You're following the rabbit down the rabbit hole, going on a journey for sure. And then like there's more to it too. So like this is just reading into the book. So this is one thing that's fun about these getting decks like this is there's like usually an excerpt from a book that's going to give you more information. So it seems you may be about to embark on an exciting journey. So start packing your suitcase or backpack right away. Like right away, apparently.
Okay.
Oh, but this is for this time when okay. So we're tuning into the energy of
yes,
when
'cause
you
we're
release.
recording this in advance of when we release it.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the energy for that time. So this is kind of like a snippet of the future.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, but remember to travel light so you can easily be spontaneous, both you and your physical journeys and the journey of your heart and being. Ooh, this is exciting. I've never had this card. Okay, so it's kind of long, but I really feel like we need to tune into this card. Okay, so perhaps this is the right time to set out on an adventure of your own. You never know who you might meet there. You might find yourself thinking about relocating or even moving to another country. That's interesting.
Maybe my mom shouldn't listen to this episode, or like the grandparents would be like, "Don't take my grandbabies.
Where are you going? Don't leave." Oh, that's amazing. Okay, it's worth signing up to low-cost travel websites to see what bargains appear, or go back to basics and just stick to a pin on a map and travel there. Maybe you know someone who deserves a holiday. Oh, this is so funny.
Me?
This is so funny because in our last episode,
We were talking about manifesting vacations.
100%.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. That is too funny. Okay. So the fairy of traveling pictured in this card has a speedy hare. Okay, cool. So we're talking about the rabbit or the hare so is telling you to prepare and be ready to take a leap of faith when the moment is right. It's a potentially super exciting time full of fun as you venture into the wonderful unknown. It's also a chance to feel truly alive and surrender to your magical destiny, banishing any preconceived plans or expectations. So this message also relates to members of your family who are about to move or go on holiday. However, it manifests a journey is imminent. It might be near or far, or even an inner journey. But the main thing is that you are ready and willing.
Okay.
Cool.
That's cool.
I read the whole thing too. Normally I don't do that. I kind of like skip ahead, but that's really interesting because like it's going to be, I feel like that is very resonant of that energy, because for whatever reason, I was thinking of the time when this podcast was going to be released, and it's kind of like on that cusp of like, we're getting closer to summertime kind of energy, and like what we spoke about in the last podcast too. So that's really cool. That's really interesting. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So you guys can see how like everything kind of like aligns and makes sense, and like all of this energy stuff. And, like I believe it and I'm really trying hard, but there are days where I'm like,
Yep.
So it's like little things like this, and it's like, okay, like you need to like keep going with all this stuff. So that was really cool.
Yeah, the synchronicities, they all come together. Okay, so the ones that popped out. So this one came like right out into the open right away. Oh my gosh.
And face up too.
Okay. it's really interesting because I feel like it's tied to the energy of the journey card because it has the same mushrooms on it.
Oh, does it?
It does.
Oh, it does.
It does. That's really interesting. Like, I know I'm like obsessing about the mushrooms right now, but like, that's really cool because not all of the cards have this on there. It's a green card as well. So that's really cool. So, sorry, whatever your question right now, you'll find the answer in a book. That's so funny because you were talking about reading as well. That's so cool. The words you find will bring in the insight you seek. And that's cool because that's so funny because we were talking about journaling as well. So I feel like there's a lot of alignment with that.
Yeah.
100%. So, ooh, I'm going to get the card.
I was going to say, and I don't know if we said the name of the card. It's Look in a Book,
Yes.
which is like exactly what we're doing to read the descriptions and like share this with you guys.
Yeah, 100%. So this is for people who are looking for guidance, and it's just kind of, I'm not going to read the whole thing just because it is a little lengthy. I do like the end paragraph here though. It says the card may also be a reminder that reading a book would be good for you right now. If there's one you've been meaning to read for years, now is the time to do it. The fairies may also be saying that a book could prove a valuable gift for someone else as it may open their mind to other ways of being. So that's really cool. I feel like we need to know more about that. So it's just kind of like tuning into the book. So hold the book against your chest and really like hold it and just really connect with it to see if it's something that resonates with you. So this is just how you kind of resonate with other things around you as well. So yeah, so you can also ask for meaning of the words to be revealed in your dreams. So just kind of connecting more with the information that's coming in to really understand what resonates for you and what you're supposed to take out of it. So that's really interesting. So like that's very like an action that you can take if you're looking for more information for sure. Okay, so this one's kind of subconscious. We'll go to the next card. Oh, cool.
Do we have more mushrooms?
No. No more mushrooms. We're done with the mushrooms, unfortunately. Although I'd be like, oh, mushrooms. This card it's called Ask for Help. So it says, angels are celestial beings who protect everyone. And the fairies say now is the time to ask for angelic assistance. Interesting, because we're looking for guidance in the book. And then this is just confirming like ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for support. So we're really looking for something. We're really looking for something because we're going on a journey. We're looking to discover something and we're wanting to get some help doing that. Here, I'll let you look at the card. It's really, and I love how all the cards have like green to them too. It's a very heart-centered. So our heart chakra is a green color.
Oh.
So it's a very heart-centered message. So this journey could also be something very like within as well. So yeah.
So not all the colors have this green theme then? Or sorry, not all the cards?
No, definitely not. They're all totally different colors. I think yesterday I did one and it was all blue, which is like your intuition, your throat chakra, a lot more like intuitive kind of energy. Like, for example, I think the one card was believe in magic and everything was kind of like that indigo, bluey, purpley color, which is very much like bringing that guidance in to like believe into something, actually, it's so funny that you mentioned like believing in the energy, like believing in something beyond what you see in front of you. So it's very interesting. And it's so funny because I just flipped to believe in magic on here too. That's hilarious. Okay. So the angels are celestial beings. So we already read this part. I apologize. There are times in our lives when we need celestial assistance, and that time may be now. So that's really interesting because it's very much, we're looking for something. We're looking to understand something within our heart, especially with all of these cards. I love that. Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to go too deep into this one because it is pretty self-explanatory. And I'm just maybe like, okay, here's I love this note at the end here. So I love reading the last paragraph too, because it really like gets to the point.
Okay.
So it says, remember there are no rules and that the angels are happy to work with fairies and humans alike when it's for the highest good of all. Yeah. So tune into that. Again, so interesting that they are all green. So it's a very heart-centered message for sure. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah.
So hopefully that resonated with you guys as well. And if you're looking to if you don't have cards of your own or you'd like Kourtney to do a reading for you, you can find her.
Oh, yes. You can find me I'm on Instagram. So niyama.love.ko. I guess I should maybe spell Niyama because it's like, yeah, I should probably do that. So it's spelled Niyama and then love. So actually, yeah. And the reason for Niyama is it's part of the 8 limbs of yoga. So it's like, it's a way of living and a way of life and looking at everything holistically. So, very observant, energy. So anyway, yeah. And then also if you're interested in booking anything with me, it could be like Reiki or Ohana generational healing, especially if you're looking for that heart-centered understanding. I feel like this is very much understanding generationally, maybe what's going on with our family, where we come from, why we experience things the way we do. That is definitely an amazing container for that. And yeah, definitely. So if you want to register with anything or any courses that are going on or book anything, it can all be done through my website at niyamalove.com.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And as always, I really enjoy our conversations. So, you'll probably be back again.
Yay! I love it.
As you guys are listening, if anything comes up or you have questions or you're like, maybe they can talk about this next time, then just let one of us know on Instagram and then we'll make note of it for when we record again. Yeah.
Sounds
all right.
amazing.
Well, have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Go Get Great. I hope you found some useful tips and tricks that can help you make life and business work together. If what I said resonates with you, please share it on social media and don't forget to tag at Brittany Miller Socials so that I can celebrate you for taking those first steps towards achieving greatness. Remember, success doesn't happen overnight. It takes dedication, hard work, and a lot of spirit. So don't be afraid to dream big and go after what you want. Keep striving for greatness. You get closer with every step forward, no matter how small they may seem. Until next time, go get great.